Okay. I believe we're here. Is that correct?
Yes, Siri. Siri, I just had a doubt regarding so in the book you were told by Suyuti, some of the justifications for getting a minimum number to convey certainty, they use ayat from the Quran and so on and so forth. But then, wouldn't those be weak to establish an entire methodology based off of that? Like to say that, this is the number with which we can certainly say that this hadith is a fact. So how
It's not. I believe if we look in the Fiqh and other places, they're going to say it all depends on the context. So basically, there is a point where you get to the fact where the average person, not you, but the average person gets to the point where this is undeniable, right? So let's do eyesight, for example. Okay, how amazing is my eyesight? It's not that amazing. I mean, I can see. So, well, can I see things in front of me? So, yeah. Can I see things, for example, 10 foot, 20 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, 500 feet? Right? What can I see? What can I detail? There's a point where you can say Fareed can see something or he can't see something, and he can read something or he can't read something. And that's just a fact. Right. So right in front of me, about 20 foot in front of me, there was a little book that says Dua something, oh, a divine help. So now I'm telling you this, and the likelihood of it being wrong is very unlikely. The likelihood that I'm wrong is pretty unlikely. But for example, I know, maybe you don't know, that I know that I can see this. Right? For you, it's a khabar wahid, right? Khabar ahad, one person is telling you this, but I know that I can see it. So for me, it's yaqeen, it's knowledge, okay? But that's going to vary. So based on how tired I am, how this and how that. So the same thing when you come to, so all of this is going to, where do you find the details on all of these things is in Sharh al-Aqaid, right? Asbab al-Ilm, right? And you're going to see it all there. And not to figure other places. But so here we're going to say it's based on qara'in, right? So given, for example, I need 10,000. So there's 10,000 kuffar. Just give me 1 second, please. Sorry, as I'm looking at this book, 20 feet away from me. So when you put some tissue box on top of a mushaf. So how many kuffar would you need to have tawatur? How many intentional liars would you need? So you need quite a lot of evidence because you need to make sure that they can't team up. That's what you need to do. And then you're going to use statistics as well. So what's the chance that they all imagined that number, right? So for example, they're all like somebody in another room is holding up their hand with how many fingers. Then you send 10,000 people into that room one by one, and they come out and you ask them how many fingers is the person holding up, right? If they are all inveterate liars and you know that, then you have to use a lot of statistics to work it out that you know that it's the case. Like how likely is it that you had 10,000 of them and they all said 5, right? And you might need quite a lot. So it can be difficult, as opposed to 5 of the Sahaba telling you, right? Imagine 5 of the Sahaba told you right now that the Prophet told you to pray Salat al-Istikhara. Like, I don't think there's any doubt. So maybe you don't even need 10. Maybe you don't need 5, maybe 3 will be enough. Usually 3 is mashhur, right? But like, where's the error? Like, where's the room of error? Where's like, how could it be wrong? Well, I guess it could be wrong, right? And so the point is, it's the issue that given the qara'in, given the person looking at it, given this, it's just not possible that is wrong. It's just not possible. Again, and we're talking about not a judgment here. We're talking about that I've seen this, I saw this, I heard this, right? So does that make sense?
Okay, basically, in Hadith sciences, it's like very hard to have like a general principle. Like you have a framework,
So
but each
number
Hadith
one
has
is
its own
so
story.
as Ibn Hajar mentioned, being the fikr, he says mutawatir is just not is nothing to do with the hadith. So it's not about mutawatir. It's like we don't even deal with mutawatir. Not even interested in that. We're interested in ahad. That's what they even we don't even talk about mutawatir. So now when we come to Quran or Aqidah, now I'm interested in mutawatir. Now I'm interested in is this mutawatir or not? Because I'm saying this is mutawatir and it's قطعية ثبوت قطعية دلالة, right? So then this is now fact, and you have now disagreed with this, so you are now a kafir in a way that I cannot understand, you know. So that's what's interesting in fiqh in terms of qada, in terms of saying labeling someone as a kafir, in terms of in qira'at, right? So like qira'at, is this mutawatir or not? So then we say, well, there's 7 that's mutawatir, and then there are 3 that are mashhur. Yeah, well, show me exactly what that means then. Like how many people narrated this? And when you start applying it, be like, it's not really what you seem to be talking about. Like, and you look, for example, in a Sab'at fil Qira'at by Ibn Mujahid, you see exactly like, okay, this person's source and this person's source, it's like, doesn't really look like what we're talking about, right? It's almost like some of it looks a bit like, saying, oh, Imam Malik is a mufti by tawatur. All his fatwas are mutawatir. And like, how is that? Oh, because so many people gave him ijazah to give fatwa, right? Some of the things are like a bit like that. Like, that's not really what I'm talking about.
So you're
So
talking of it as a subset of
yeah. So
knowledge in general.
what I'm trying to say is in hadith, we're not going to have a definition. It's not a real definition. It's not really there. And it's going to be a discussion in usul. It's going to be a discussion in aqidah. It's going to be a discussion in ulum Quran. A. And then B, when you start looking at it, for example, specifically in ulum Quran, you'd be like, that doesn't really fulfill the conditions that we might put forward. In at least in its so that's why we have a debate in usul. Is the whole Quran mutawatir, or including the specifics of each qira'ah, right? So let's say, for example, you say 10 qira'at mutawatira. Okay, fine. So it's mutawatir that the Prophet ﷺ did idgham al-kabir, right? And yet we only find that in Susi. Like how is that mutawatir then? That one rawi from one qari is doing, how is that mutawatir? When you get into the specifics, so I believe this is the ikhtiyar of Ibn Hajib, is that he's saying it's not that the Quran in general is mutawatir, but each specific qira'ah is not mutawatir, right? Or each variable of each qira'ah is not mutawatir. And so they explain it in other ways. They'll be saying, no, it's because they study so many people and this. But I mean, it's what you need for mutawatir really then is, so the definitely go back to your number. Your question was, give me this number or that number. It's not a number. It is a large amount of people who are telling you about something they heard or saw, okay, such that they could not be mistaken, or they could not all be mistaken. They could not have conspired to lie. So that just depends on the situation, who they are in that situation. They could not have all made a mistake. So I got like 10 of the Sahaba. I don't believe any of them are going to be lying, but I can't imagine some of them make a mistake. They misunderstood a situation. It could happen, right? And so then they explain it in an incorrect way. So I'm interested in how many would I need for them to not make a mistake, for it to be impossible there's a mistake. With a kafir or a liar, then it's something else. Okay, so going back to it again is what we're really interested in is when it comes to aqidah. Like, see a scenario where we're saying, like, or for the Hanafis, like their concept of mashhur, like for them, mashhur and mutawatir fiqh-wise is the same. So the way they're going to weigh things up is something that's mashhur slash mutawatir, it's the same. Right? It's not that, so that's enough to make it fard, it's enough to kind of like disprove an ahad hadith, etc., and those kind of things. So what I'm trying to say is again, it's not a fixed number. And B, where would you really see these things is see what people are actually doing with it. See when somebody says this is kufr, it's not kufr, it's enough people, it's not enough people, etc. Those kind of issues. Qira'at, where they're actually trying to say, oh, this is mutawatir, and see how many people they actually have. Right? That's when it's kind of actually gets interesting. As for Suyuti's work is not a methodological thing, and it's not a methodology. It's just a small, in nice work, right? Doesn't really, you know, it's just a nice work. That's all, right? So comparing, for example, can we compare the Sab' fil Qira'at by Ibn Mujahid to what's it called? It's called Qat al-Thimar, right? Not Qat, no, Qat al-Azhar. That was it. Qat al-Azhar, not Qat al-Thimar. Qat al-Azhar by Suyuti on Mutawat al-Hadith. So it's not like a fundamental important, book that changes anything. It's just interesting. Whereas the Sab' fil Qira'at, we're saying this is mutawatir and this is fact, right? And then we can just kind of see how it's actually doing it, right? In reality. Does that make sense, Aban?
Yes, yes, I got it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm kind of like half asleep. Okay, so it says سبب والعلة الأصلي السبب الأصلي بسم الله قال المصنف رحمه الله تعالى ونفعنا الله بعلمه وعلمكم آمين. السبب الأصلي للعلة هو الوهم. وقد we didn't do the word وهم. We're supposed to speak about inshallah. I'll try and I'll another time inshallah. وهم versus وهم. وقد أشار إليه أئمة الصلاح في بحثهم في العلم واكتفوا به لأنه هو الأصل. والوهم السهو والنسيان من جبلة الإنسان لذلك سمي إنسانا على قول بعض اللغويين. ومن هنا لم يسلم من الوهم والغلط كبير أحد من العلماء كما نبه الإمام الترمذي فقال لم يسلم من الخطأ والغلط كبير أحد من الأئمة مع حفظهم. So it's something that every single scholar does. وقد عني الحافظ ابن رجب ببيان ذلك في شرحه علل الترمذي فقال وقد وهمت عائشة جماعة من الصحابة في روايتهم للحديث وقد جمع بعضهم جزءا في ذلك. So I believe this is who is it? زركشي, right? جمع في ذلك الإمام الزركشي كتابه الإجابة لإيراد ما استدركته عائشة على الصحابة. ووهم سعيد مسيب ابن عباس في قوله تزوج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ميمونة وهو محرم. وقرأت بخط أبي حفص البرمكي الفقيه الحنبلي. So this is a manuscript then presumably, right? Who's quoting this? He's quoting some kind of manuscript? Or who's he quoting? Is he quoting Ibn Hajar? He's quoting Ibn Rajab? Pretty sure this is continuation. This is a continuation of Ibn Rajab, yeah. So Ibn Rajab says وقرأت بخط أبي حفص البرمكي الفقيه الحنبلي ذكرت لي أبي الحسن يعني الدارقطني يعني الدارقطنية جاء عمرو بن يحيى المازني في ذكر هي الحمار موضع البعير في توجه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى خيبر وأن أحمد لم يضعفه لذلك فقال أبو الحسن مثل هذا في الصحابة قال روى رافع بن عمرو المزني قال رأيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يخطب على بغلة بمنى ورى الناس كلهم خطوة النبي على ناقة أو جمل أفيضعف الصحابي بذلك, right? So just because he makes one mistake it becomes weak? No. كذلك حال غير الصحابة قال ابن مبارك ومن يسلم من الوهم قد ذكر الأثرم, right? I remember in one book الإيضاح بالمناسك by Imam al-Nawawi, right? There's like one mas'ala where it's just like these two well-known issues are just flipped. As like, what happened there, right? Is it just a typo? Is it what's going on? It could be. Things like that happen, right? It's cool, it's just a typo. وقد ذكر الأثرم لأحمد أن ابن المديني كان يحمل على عمرو بن يحيى، وذكروا هذا الحديث أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى آخره. قال أحمد كان مالك من أثبت الناس وكان يخطئ happens. وقال حماد بن زيد أخطأ في غير شيء happened more than once but doesn't make him a giant, doesn't stop him from being a giant. وقال علي بن المديني المحدثون صحفوا وأخطأوا ما خلا أربعة: يزيد بن زريع وابن إسماعيل بن عليا وبشر المفضل وعبد الوارث بن السعيد. قال البرذعي: شهدت أبا زرعة ذكر عبد الرحمن المهدي ومدحه وأطنب في مدحه وقال وهم في غير شيء. ثم ذكر عدة أسماء الصحف ثم ذكر عدة أسماء صحفها قال عن سماك عن عبد الله بن ظالم وإنما هو مالك بن ظالم. قال ابن معين: يحيى بن زكريا بن زائدة كيس لا أعلم أخطاء إلا في حديث واحد. قال معين: ومن لم يخطئ فهو كذاب. قال ابن معين أيضا: لست أعجب ممن يحدث فيخطئ، إنما أعجب ممن يحدث فيصيب. هذا لأن الضعفاء والمتكلم فيهم من الرواة أكثر من الثقات، كما يعرف من التمرس بالأسانيد. ولهذا قال ابن معين قوله هذا، وهو تنبيه على توجس المحدث وحذره الشديد، وأنهم غير معصومين من الغلط والخطأ والسهو. فإن قلت إذا كان الحفاظ المتقنون قد يخطئون فكيف نطمئن على الحديث النبوي الحديث if the great scholars of hadith they themselves make mistakes, what can we rely on? فالجواب أن المحدثين احتاطوا لذلك غاية الاحتياط، ووضعوا لذلك شرطين في غاية الأهمية في الصحيح والحسن، وهما عدم الشذوذ وعدم العلة القادحة. هذان الشرطان حارسان يقظان أمينان يكشفان أي وهم أو غلط من الراوي الثقة الحافظ. ومن أنفذة وهم حدث حديث همام بن يحيى العوذي عن ابن جريج عن الزهري عن أنس رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان إذا دخل خلاء وضع خاتمه أخرجه الأربع. والعلة في هذا الحديث كما قال أبو داود: هذا حديث منكر، إنما يعرف عن ابن جريج عن زياد بن سعد عن الزهري عن أنس بن مالك أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اتخذ خاتما من ورق ثم ألقاه. So totally different meaning and everything. والوهم فيه من همام ولم يرويه سواه. قال حافظ بن رجب في شرح إلى الترمذي: حماد بن يحيى العوذي أحد الثقات المشهورين. قال عبد الله يعني ابن الإمام أحمد قال بي: ومن سمع من همام بآخ بآخرة فهو أجود، لأن هماما كان في آخر عمره أصابته زمانه فكان يقرب عهده بالكتاب فقل ما يخطئ. قلت حديثه بآخرة أصح مما سمع منه قديما، فهو عكس من اختلط آخرة. وقد وقد تمتن فقد تمتن بآخرة تمتن آخرة احتج به الجماعة. Right? So Okay, my sincere apologies, everybody. I am literally falling asleep as I talk. So I'm trying my best, but I'm like, subhanAllah. Inshallah, we'll stop here, inshallah ta'ala. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أستغفرك وأتوب إليك